Conventionally, gun drilling has always had it from its name, and it was obviously came from the production of guns from many years ago, and it's rolled on a lot more into other areas where you do need to put a hole into a deep application. In the original, or in the early days, certainly, it would have been literally put into a component using a drill like that, which we still make as a standard tool, and it's a metre long. So realistically, we can put a metre long high-speed steel, high-speed cobalt tool into a 2-hole. It's 2-fluted, it's spiral fluted, so it aids the swarf evacuation and whatever.
Yeah, we're not really doing much general engineering. They're all skilled, apprentice trained people. In fact, about 25% of our staff are Metalite apprentices originally.
Are they?
So, yes. So there are a lot of skilled people here with a lot of years of experience.
They've stuck around, which is always a good sign.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the machining capacity that we're seeing here that you've got. I mean, we've got an automation cell. I've seen some fabulous EDM machines as well.
What were your considerations when choosing these machine tools?
So our greatest driver was cycle time reduction. So improved flow, increased efficiency, that sort of thing, and also a reduced lead time, which is a massive driving factor for Napier. They had to be quick, they had to be efficient, but they also had to be able to maintain the micro level accuracy that we chased here.
And is this busy? Do you have a lot of people using your facility?
Yes, we do. So there's a lot of businesses in a position where perhaps they don't have the right size machine, they don't have a machine at all, they don't have the necessary equipment to achieve the tolerances they want. So we can provide that service. We can make use of the Mitutoyo portfolio of equipment, and they can get the results and the programming services that they need.
And so tell me about the pros to this, because it's self-centering.
Yep.
So is it easy to use, and does it do it all by itself?
Yeah, once it's set up on the casting, it's an M code or a button and it will close itself. It doesn't need to be adjusted for different diameters that you would find on a manual steady. It's there, it does what we need it to do. It's easy to use.
And any of the parts, can you showcase some of the parts that you're using and what the benefits are of it that you're using on the CMZ?
Well, these are very simple construction equipment pins. Because of the length and the amount we have to turn, we have to hold it in a steady rest to machine to length.
Engineering Economic Indicator. The results are in for April 2021. But if you haven't already seen the MTD EEI, what is it? It's an economic indicator for how the UK engineering sector is performing.
Out and about, I see quite a few Herco machines, but it's not very often I see Hercos this big. James, wow, what a purchase. The VMX 64i machine, it's huge.
Yeah, it's great.
Welcome to Technical Corners here from MTD CNC. I'm here with Paul Wells from Mapow Limited. Now, Paul, I've been very lucky to actually tour around the majority of your factories in Germany. You're great innovators of tooling solutions.
Fred, you know, taking them comments on board, how far do you go for your customer? You know, nowadays they're buying effectively the machine tool is the blank canvas, but then everything around it is what makes it tick and gets the most out of that machine tool. So when can you give our audience, you know, when someone comes to you to buy a machine tool and then they give you certain components that they want to machine on that machine tool, you know, take our audience through the steps that you would go through with them.
Okay, the first thing we do obviously is talk to them with the salesman to talk about the platform they need. Then we'll look at the components and make sure that the platform is correct and the options are there that they will need. And then what we'll do is we'll talk to the customer about how he currently makes it, because he's got the experience of making those parts better than anybody else. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, we just need to find a better way of helping him to make them in the future. So it's working with the customer, it's making suggestions, it's looking at time studies, it's looking at work holding, it's looking at tooling, just discussing it with the customer.
I mean, that's a really good point, and Mark mentioned it at the beginning of this podcast, collaboration, and that is absolute key. But when discussing some of these projects, I assume, volumes come into play, the materials come into play when choosing the right machine tool, work holding and everything else.
Yeah.
But the actual project in itself, does a customer come to you and say, I just want to reduce my cost per part, I want to reduce my operations, I want to become more efficient, I want to put all them components on one machine instead of having them on several machines? What are the kind of obstacles that you need to overcome as an applications manager at DMG MORI?
Okay, well, first and foremost, it is about listening to the customer and finding out what's important to him, what is he looking for. And you're right, there can be many different reasons for buying a new machine, and some of it might be to combine many different operations on one platform. And where that's possible, we'll work with them. It's not always possible. Sometimes we can combine 2 or 3, but then you still need a 4th. So again, just talk, discuss, offer options.
Are you ready for our MTD magazine, the May issue? Because you'll be getting your copy in the post any day now. As always, another bumper issue with 84 pages packed with unique and insightful content. So what's May's issue all about? Well, our medical sector report discusses the rapidly evolving sector, especially in light of the COVID pandemic. As an industry that is double the size of the UK civil aerospace sector, any changes here can have a big impact on UK manufacturing. We also have an interview with Professor Keith Ridgway, OBE and CBE, and founder of the AMRC Sheffield and Executive Chair of the AFRC in Strathclyde. He discusses the UK industrial strategy and why the UK is falling down on levelling up. The technology focus in this issue is all about measurement, and we kick this section off with Dr. Christian Young, highlighting the impact metrology can have on sustainability. And we also have an MTD exclusive competition where you can win a set of mountain bike pedals courtesy of Mitutoyo and Pembrey. I know Mark Dedman might like that one too. In the software section, we'll be looking back at the recent MTD live event at CG Tech, where I discussed Vericut Force and its applications at the SECO Technical Centre. Continuing with the medical theme, we have another exclusive from Younes Chahid. Now, he's been named as one of IMECI's 35 rising stars to watch under 35. And he talks us through how additive is revolutionising hip joint designs and manufacture. Really interesting. In the machining section, we interview JWA Tooling, a company that has invested heavily in new machine tools even through the pandemic. And we discuss why they bought Mazak Machining Centres and how it was an MTD video that prompted them to buy their first Mazak 5-axis machine. We also take a look at ForgeAll and how this company has launched a £179 plug-and-play system to plug into your machine tool and give you access to never-been-seen-before data and insights. And of course, we'll have all the latest from the world of cutting tools, our What's New section, and so much more. And don't forget my favourite section, the Spot the Difference as well. You won't forget. Right, please don't forget to click on the QR codes inside with your mobile phone camera and watch the associated MTD video. And don't forget that you can listen to features in our magazine. Just search for MTD audiobook in your favourite podcast platform. A massive thank you, as always, to our advertisers for all of your support. Enjoy the issue.